Welcome back. All right, so as I was thinking, all right, so what is the other video going to be about today? The Rangers answered my question for me. I don't see how it's not related. So Darren Drager's saying that a source told him that what we're going to talk about here was not related to any of the Tom Wilson stuff. Comments on Twitter underneath that are, your source lied to you, and I have to agree. This has to be related. I believe it's Frank Saravelli reporting that both John Davidson and Jeff Gorton tried to distance themselves from the post on Twitter yesterday that sent everybody all a Twitter. That's the name. But they tried to distance themselves. But if you don't take ownership of it, then why is it out there? So if the team doesn't agree with what was said with the whole player safeties, dereliction of duty, and George Peros should be, out of the job. If you don't agree, then why don't you do what the Capitals did, which is they had the post taken down that they realized they probably shouldn't have had up there regarding Tom Wilson. I find this fascinating. And apparently Chris Drury's going to stick around in a prominent role with the franchise. Whether he's the next GM, I have no idea. So John Davidson's been fired. Jeff Gorton's been fired. Davidson only had the job for less than 2 years, from May 27th, 2019 until today. And it always felt like that was the job he was born for, that being the guy who's running the Rangers, that's the job he was made to do. So does he go back into broadcasting? Does he end up on ESPN next year? Does he end up on TNT? I don't know. He's a good broadcaster. Jeff Gorton, from July 1st, 2015 to May 5th, which is today, 2021. The interesting thing is that if this is not related to, as I've got on the board here, Crapstorm, and if this is performance related, it doesn't add up at all. The Rangers this year, they start out the season 2-4-2, right? 5-5-1 in February after that 2-4-2 January, 9-6-1 April, or 9-6-1 March, I should say, 10-4-2 April. Yeah, they've been 0-2 this month, but they're trending in the right direction and in a very difficult division. Rangers have seen growth from players during the year. Their goaltending's got better as the year's gone along. And their record this year of 26-21-6 is not out of line with last year's 37-28-5. And it's still better than the previous season, where they were 32-36-14. It has to be related to the Wilson thing. So here's the thing. The NHL's going to fine the Rangers over that post. But if ownership finds a scapegoat, then maybe they get out of it, right? So what may have happened, the NHL calls up ownership and says, so what's going on? And ownership would go, we don't know. And apparently neither Jeff Gorton nor John Davidson knew about the post before it went out on Twitter. But again, that's where you're supposed to be in charge of your social media. You're supposed to be deciding on that. If somebody's acting on your behalf, then you have to get ahead of it. And they didn't. If they didn't agree with it, then they didn't get ahead of it. It's just, it's so bizarre. And this whole thing just keeps getting bigger. And I don't understand either. If it's performance related, it doesn't make any sense, because the season's over in a week for the Rangers. They're not in the playoffs. So why now? The only reason it'd be now has to be because of the post yesterday on Twitter and the team realizing they're going to be fined a lot of money. And the funny part is, I've seen people say, well, the team's worth X amount of dollars, so they can afford it. That's not the point. It doesn't matter how much money you have. If somebody else causes you to lose some of it, and you don't agree with why you're losing it, and you're not going to be happy, and that's where somebody's going to go. I would think that along with them, whoever's in charge of that Twitter account has to be on his way out the door. And then what do the Rangers do from here? This also should short circuit any kind of craziness from tonight. The Rangers should look at this news and go, oh, wow, so the bosses are both out, huh? And it should mute things from here, I would imagine. It is just, this is so weird. I would expect this in other locations. There's a team not too far from me I would expect this kind of craziness from. But again, I can't see how it's performance related. The record in March and April combined was 19-10-3. This team was playing well. They got off to a slow start. They've been playing better, and there's a lot of positives with the Rangers. I just can't see why this would be performance related. This is a bizarre story that's going to continue. So I'm looking forward to talking about who the new GM is when it happens. I look forward to seeing who they hire for the next team president. I is David Quinn on his way out? You'd have to think the coach is on his way out too. I'm surprised if they're going to do well. I guess you can't really if it's about the post on Twitter, you can't really hold the coach accountable. You can hold the GM and the team president accountable, but yeah, wow, I'm legit shocked at this news. This is one of the most surprising things I've seen ever in the National Hockey League. This story just has gone in a direction I did not expect whatsoever. This is like it's a choose your own adventure, and this feels like this is where the story ends, and you go, that seems like an odd ending. Let's go back to my last decision and do something different. Post to Twitter. No. Go to page 146, and they all lived happily ever after. That's better. So yeah, I can't say for sure it's related to the Twitter post from yesterday, or the NHL being mad at the Rangers about the Twitter post from yesterday. I can't say this is a direct result of Tom Wilson, but there's the power of Tom Wilson. He got Davidson and Gorton fired. So if you're a Rangers fan and you wanted to change at GM, and I've seen Rangers fans who want a new GM, you guys should be thanking Tom Wilson, I guess. Sure, let's just go further down the rabbit hole. I don't know. Stay tuned. There'll be more to come. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. One of the weirdest days I've had since I started running this channel. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon.